Oviedo, I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Katie. Today is a special day here at WROR-TV because 20 years ago on this date, October 16th, 1995, the first edition of WROR-TV was aired on closed-circuit television.
To commemorate this occasion, Carrie-Lynn's going to show us a little bit about our history, then Leann's going to talk about how TV production has evolved since then, and Piper's going to show us how Oviedo High School has changed in the last 20 years.
Our 20th anniversary special begins with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Good morning. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
20 years is quite some time. I mean, that was before any of us were even born. In the year 1995, we saw the creation of eBay.
Pixar released Toy Story, the first feature-length computer-animated film.
Braveheart won Best Picture at the Oscars.
The Cowboys won the Super Bowl, which unfortunately hasn't happened again since then, so sorry, Cowboy fans.
And Windows 95 was a fixture that was installed on desktop computers worldwide.
A lot of people have had a hand in the development of this program from 1995 to what you see on the news today. Reporter Carrie-Lynn has the full story.
20 years ago, you couldn't just point your phone at something and record it. Making a video required bulky and expensive equipment. And if you wanted someone to watch your video, well, YouTube wouldn't be around until 2005. But Building 5 was constructed in 1994 and gave us the opportunity to build a studio that allowed us to broadcast the entire campus. A video production class has actually existed at Oviedo since 1989, but focused solely on the video yearbook.
Here's the project. Everybody make a video. Go in there and use the VHS toasters and put everything together, and then everybody would watch the videos, and then that was it. And it was just the class, but when you're doing the TV production for the entire school, everybody's seeing it.
We would just videotape, we would take videos that were already out there and edit them to like a small little sequence. We would videotape photos and edit those and just place them to music. We would do voiceovers. It was pretty basic.
Where we basically had a classroom and a closet, and we did all of our editing in a closet. And then they built the library, and in the library they built the, whatever you want to call it, the studio. And then we actually were going to put on a show.
Working on the machines, trying to figure out what we were going to name our morning announcements, and just really getting to try and know the equipment before we actually tried to do morning announcements. So then we came in, and I think we were all just kind of in awe of everything that we were able to use compared to the 3 monitors and a switchboard.
The equipment alone wasn't going to make the broadcast. Set pieces and props were needed to complete the look of a show.
I love you still have my original wheels here. I found these coat racks behind Ross, and I brought them in here and I made them 2-sided so we could have sports and then stuff. So I made these. I know they've been tweaked and done a lot. We didn't have any green screen at the time, so these were predominantly our backdrops. We used a lot of lockers. We used a lot of old Oviedo High School props, jerseys, anything we could put up there.
You know, when they would joke around or do something silly, and you know, the students liked it. You know, like, oh yeah, that was funny. But I think it was cool because it gave my classmates a great way to have a creative outlet and share it with other people. Because think about it. I mean, so many of the things that our students do, it's between the student and the teacher. Nobody else really gets to see their work. But with broadcast, you can put together these great projects.
Over the years, various advisors played a role in shaping WROR-TV.
I set it up like a production company, and then little by little we started to act like a production company. And you know, we worked on etiquette in the studio, we worked on, you know, interview etiquette, all of that kind of stuff. We started working a little bit with the city of Oviedo. We did some cool projects with them where the kids went out and they were their clients, and so they got that feel. We started taping right before I left some of the performances, the fine arts performance, so the kids got a sense of what it was like to do a remote shoot.
The program itself was much simpler. It was purely the announcements, and that was it. I mean, they did segments for the announcements. You know, you had Man on the Street. I wanted to build the program out to where we were getting our name out there, and my students were having more exposure to what is film and what is video production in the real world. So, you know, we started doing Florida Scholastic Press Association, so we started making that a regular thing, and we competed in the local competitions, and I took one of the 3 upper level video production classes and turned it into a film class, which is now Digital Line Productions. That wasn't around before.
Pretty much the same things were produced then as are produced now, but they didn't have the special effects and the really cool computer programs that they have now, so they were limited by that.
The technology may not have been as advanced, but the lessons that the students learned were just as valuable as they are today.
With editing and stuff, I still to this day can edit music, which has come in handy in my profession.
It was good. It was a leadership position, which just like, I'm an orthodontist now. I have 15 employees. You run the show to a certain extent here, and I direct just like I did there, and you have to be aware of everything, and you have to point people in the right direction to do the things they need to do.
And here we are today with digital technology, a social media presence, and a classroom that has seen a complete transformation in just the past 2 months. Our program has evolved, but we continue to bring you content each and every morning, and we hope to do so for the next 20 years. I'm Carrie-Lynn reporting with WROR-TV.
Something that people outside of WROR-TV aren't really aware of is how big a role technology plays in our production. The equipment and training we need to produce the content that you're watching right now is staggering.
And the technology is quite different from what we had in 1995 to what we have today. They may perform the same tasks, but digital tools have revolutionized the way those tasks are performed.
Leann Figueroa explains.
Movies have been around since 1895, but within the past 2 decades, we've gone from analog technology, where things are printed onto an actual medium like a tape, to digital technology, where things are encoded into a series of ones and zeros and translated by a computer.
I would have to go to the county office, and I would be on the video toaster. And it's, in comparison to what we have, it's very primitive. But there are some effects that you had to learn. And we could put some basic text into the film itself, but we didn't have a whole lot to work with.
The amount of computer screens that we used, and they were small little tube TVs, versus now you guys have flat screens and awesome graphics that you can do. Back then we had plain colored backgrounds with a few words that scrolled across it, and now you can do like these awesome 3D graphics.
Once we got it done, edited, all done, then we put on Super Beta, and I walked the tape out to Mrs. Coulon Woods, and she put it in at the right time and played it from a Super Beta tape out to the school.
There is a major change in film and television from what's called linear editing to nonlinear editing. What does that mean? Well, for the students in 1995, this meant recording directly onto a tape. VCRs would be stacked into a deck, kind of like that. You then take the footage you recorded on one tape and put that into a VCR, and take a blank tape and put that into another VCR. You then take the footage you want and put that onto the blank tape. One catch though, you have to do it in the exact order you wanted. And much like writing an essay on a typewriter, if you mess up, you use whiteout or you start over. But with nonlinear editing, that's done with a software program. And like typing an essay in Microsoft Word, you can rewrite, delete, cut, copy, and paste all with ease.
These Casablanca machines have just come out, so that was like the first digital, editing systems that we can use, and they were slow and terrible, but it was better than 2, VCRs trying to work back and forth.
It's not like today where you guys can see like the shots one right after another. It's sort of, you take a little piece of it and you build it on what you're doing. And it does take a lot of time. I spent hours and hours. I know for one of my lip syncs, I put a special little opening and it ran about 90 seconds. That took me over 6 hours just to put that together.
So every time we wanted to do the news, it was like stop, redo it, stop. It wasn't like stop where you are and pick up where you left off. You couldn't do that.
It would take like a quarter of the class just to download the working file. Kids would work on it, save it, and then have to push it back, because if not, the next class would come in and our local hard drive would be full.
But with non-linear editing, footage still had to be recorded onto mini DV tapes, which then had to be recorded into the computer, which is what we did with the archive footage for this show. But now we use SD cards, which allow us to copy and paste our footage quicker and easier than ever allowed.
Switching from tape to solid to SD cards was one of the first things that I wanted to do. When I came in, solid state and SD cards were becoming more and more popular, more and more affordable.
Our projects that would take now maybe an hour took us maybe 2 weeks to do the same thing, because there was constantly glitches and problems, and the kids were constantly starting over.
With all this technology now in the palm of your hand, only time will tell how video will progress from here. From WROR-TV, I'm Leann Figueroa.
Finally today, we're going to take a look back at how the recent past has impacted our school at large.
Piper Garick's going to show us how Oviedo High School has changed in the last 20 years.
If you were a student at Oviedo in 1995, you would have noticed a significantly different look to WROR-TV, as most of our sets are actually created on a computer. But the WROR-TV broadcast wasn't the only thing that looked different. Take a step onto campus in 1995 and you probably wouldn't recognize where you were. Many of our landmarks, including the clock tower and amphitheater, didn't even exist.
Physically, the school had major changes. The Commons is the big one. I wish people could see the Commons. Back when the school was built, I believe in '62, the Commons was actually theater, and our auditorium and our lunchroom. Very dark. There's no windows. They took the auditorium away and built an auditorium. You can see now the Commons is beautiful. They tore all that down, put up glass walls. The Commons very open, very bright, much improved there.
The Robert W. Lundquist Gym, built in 2007, has seen a bit of change in its short lifespan in the form of state championship banners. In just the past 11 years, 11 out of the total 13 Oviedo High School state championships have been won. 7 of those happened in just the past 7 years. The recent past hasn't all been positive for our athletics program, though. In 2011, our athletics program was subject to fines by the FHSAA. It was a difficult time, but the strength of the Oviedo community has remained resolute.
We have such great families in this area. You have, and again, I hate to mention names, but you mentioned Dudas and Cloningers and Files and Wheelers. There's these Oviedo names that stand out with tradition, with honor, with integrity, and that just goes to show you, why we fought with splitting with Haggerty. We loved our Oviedo tradition. It was so hard for us to give half of Oviedo away to Haggerty. Nothing's wrong with Haggerty, he does a great job, but we were so proud of the Oviedo culture.
And finally, our most notable change for both the general campus and athletes is our artificial field, which was installed in 2010 and paid off in 2013. What used to be a torn up field of sugar sand is now green and free of sand traps all year long. It's safe to say that students from 1995 would barely recognize today's campus, yet it's the same grounds that have always housed the Oviedo Lions, and that will always remain a constant. For WROR-TV, I'm Piper Garick.
That's it for our 20th anniversary episode. Remember, the field that Piper was standing on hosts a big match tonight.
At 7 o'clock, your Oviedo Lions are taking on Seminole High School in a crucial district game. And we're spreading breast cancer awareness by having a pink out game, so remember to buy and wear your shirts.
We also want to let you know that in addition to following WROR-TV on Twitter, if you missed any of the announcements from the morning, you can also follow Oviedo announcements at AttentionOHS.
And I guess that's it for us. And we just want to thank everyone who took the time to speak to us and made this broadcast possible. Who knows, maybe in 20 years, we'll be being interviewed by kids who aren't even born yet.
It's a little scary. Have a great 3-day weekend, get some sleep for once, and we'll see you Tuesday.